This fragrance is absolutely awesome and it needs its own dedicated review. Kohl Opulence from the brand of Arabiyat Prestige. It's a superb clone of Ex Nihilio's Blue Talisman that has even better performance than the original. Hey guys, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman, and it's time for your dose of some fragrance content. As I said in the beginning of the video, today I'm going to review a super awesome fragrance from the brand of Arabiyat Prestige that's called Kohl Opulence, and this one looks a lot like another one that I reviewed last week that's called Kohl Luminous. Now Kohl Luminous is a clone with a twist of God of Fire. This is a different fragrance that has nothing to do with that golden one. This is a clone of Ex Nihilio's Blue Talisman. I'm not going to go over the full presentation because it's very similar to the other one. If you want to check that one out, I'm going to link the video in the description of this one, so you can check out the full presentation. Bottle-wise, they're very similar to each other, but whereas Kohl Luminous comes in this golden color finish, Kohl Opulence comes in this dark, almost it's like a very dark gray or like a blue accent color, but the shape, the dimension and the bottle size is exactly the same as this one. It's 100 milliliters and the concentration is EDP. You're also getting the standard pressurized sprayer with a lot of Arabiyat Prestige fragrances, a sprayer that's absolutely awesome and pretty much works as good as any Dior sprayer, for an example. I'm going to spray this fragrance on my left hand so I can talk about the opening. I've been already wearing this one today, and in fact for the past couple of days. I've had this fragrance for a couple of weeks now in my possession, and I was really interested and fascinated by this one. When initially I first tried this one for the first few times, I was really taken back because I immediately recognized that this is cloning, or that has been very heavily inspired by Blue Talisman. But I noticed something quite different than Blue Talisman. So it smells like Blue Talisman in a lot of ways, but it also has its own very interesting twist that makes it a little bit more masculine in my opinion. The opening is very similar to the original fragrance, meaning that you'll get the sweet pear note, you'll get some of the bergamot freshness, you'll get a bit of the ginger spiciness and freshness that you'll find in the original fragrance, maybe a bit of the florals as well. But what this one lacks is some of the freshness of the original fragrance. I think the original fragrance also contains the note of orange or mandarin, which adds a little bit more freshness. This one has a little bit more emphasis on the sweet notes. Meaning the ambers and the vanilla note, and it feels a little bit less spicy, feels slightly less fresh in the opening. Overall feels a little bit smoother, and also an interesting note that I pick up in this one. I was really surprised by that note. I had to double check with a few people, but my wife, for example, one of my friends, but all of us pick up the note of leather in this fragrance, something that the original doesn't have and something that even the note breakdown of this one doesn't include. But it's a very interesting, a very nice touch. At least personally, I pick up a leather note. It's not overly strong, but definitely it adds depth. It adds an interesting layer on top of the what the original fragrance has to offer. And in my opinion, that leather note also adds a bit of masculinity to the scent profile. I've always found the original to be a little bit too shower jelly, a little bit too summery, and also to be maybe leaning a little bit to the feminine side. But with the introduction, with the addition of the leather note and a little bit more sweetness and a little bit less freshness in the opening, the way that the scent profile changes is that it feels a little bit smoother, it feels a little bit more complex than the original fragrance, and definitely feels a little bit more masculine. The dry down is it's pretty similar to the original fragrance, meaning that it becomes this mix of some woody notes with the sweet notes with the vanilla. Again, this one has a ramped up amber note compared to the original fragrance. Maybe, not maybe, but definitely some musks, and again, you still get some of that leather on the dry down. The opening is where this is, differs more compared to the original fragrance. On the dry down, they get closer scent-wise to each other, but this still remains a little bit sweeter, a little bit leather, and in my opinion overall a slightly more masculine version of the original. Overall, this is an absolutely fantastic fragrance. I really like it a lot. The original fragrance is not like one of my favorites, but with this small twist that Arabiyat Prestige have done to the scent profile, they've made it more interesting in my opinion. for me personally at least, and more wearable and slightly more versatile as well. When it comes to performance, this is a strong performing scent. From day one I was getting very strong performance. For example, this one outperforms the other one from this line on my skin. I easily get 9, even sometimes up to 10 hours of performance on my skin. Also the projection, you know, in the first about 2 hours, maybe even over 2 hours, is quite strong. So definitely this is a strong performing scent, and it's better performing than the original fragrance on my skin. Now, I did a video last week where I talked about performance of fragrances in very hot weather. Even in like super hot conditions, this was still giving me about 6 hours of performance. So I would say performance wise, this is a strong scent, almost bordering being a beast mode performing fragrance. When it comes to the price, the standard price for this one is around about 50 euros or around about $60. So it's a little bit more expensive. It's more on the expensive side when it comes to cologne fragrances, but definitely it has you know, superb quality and enough performance to sort of justify this price tag. And also sometimes you can find this on a sale and you can get it for around about 40 euros, so that's around about $45 to $50, especially at that slightly lower price point. I think it's an absolute steal as long as you like the original fragrance, you know, Blue Talisman. And when it comes to versatility, I think this is slightly more versatile than the original, because you can still wear this one in the warmer days of the year, which in my opinion the original one is best suited for. But because this is slightly sweeter and slightly darker, this also works quite well, I would say, even in cold weather. It also has the performance and everything else to be worn in cold weather. So overall, this is a very versatile scent. You can wear this one to the office, to the gym, or a date night or whatever. And I find this one to be a unisex fragrance that maybe leans a little bit to the masculine side with the twist that Arabiyat have put on it. And at the end, the usual final words about Kohl Opulence, the fragrance that I was talking about in today's video. This turned out to be an absolutely pleasant surprise for me personally. When I got this one, I ordered it blindly, I sprayed it for the first time. I was immediately sort of reminded of the scent of Ex Nihilio's Blue Talisman, and I've said this before, I already in this video as well. I'm not the biggest fan in the world of you know, of Blue Talisman, so I said, yeah, okay, yet another clone of Blue Talisman. But then when this started to develop on my skin and I started to notice that it's a little bit darker, that it's a little bit different than Blue Talisman, especially when I started to notice the note of leather, I said, okay, this is actually very interesting. And the more this was drying down on my skin, the better it got, and the more I started to like it. So overall, this turned out to be an absolutely pleasant surprise. So if you like Blue Talisman, if you like those type of scents, you know, fresh, slightly shower jelly, fruity fragrances with vanilla in them, with some oats and with good performance that are quite versatile as well, definitely check out Kohl Opulence. Also, if you are on the fence on buying you know, a Blue Talisman clone, but you find the original fragrance to be a little bit too unisex for your taste, again, I think the twist that Arabiyat have done with this one, adding the leather note and slight darkness to the scent profile, makes this more masculine in my opinion. This has nice quality, it has superb performance, it's fairly priced in my opinion, especially if you can get it on a bit of a sale. Overall, I think this is a really good scent that you know, and I ended up liking surprisingly a lot more than I ever expected to like. So guys, in today's video I reviewed a fragrance that surprised me a lot at how much I actually like. Kohl Opulence from the brand of Arabiyat Prestige, which is a very nice clone with a twist of Ex Nihilio's Blue Talisman, and in my opinion this smells more masculine and performs better than the original fragrance. I hope that you found today's video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video for your dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.